Now, if you've ever tried to apply for an Australian PR visa, you know it's a bit like trying to grab the last piece of cake at a family party. Technically possible, but you need good timing, some strategy, and maybe a bit of luck. This year, the states have changed the recipe again. The nomination rules across Australia have had a serious update. New priorities, tighter conditions, and a stronger focus on who actually gets invited. Some people are now at the front of the queue, while others might need to rethink their approach entirely. So, in this video, we're going to unpack what really changed, why it happened, and most importantly, who benefits from these 2025 rule updates. Immigration rules might not be everyone's idea of entertainment, but if you're chasing that Aussie PR dream, this is the kind of fine print that can make or break your plans. All right, let's get into it. What changed in 2025? There are several shifts happening across Australia's state nomination programs this program year. I'll highlight the key changes. Think of this as the What's New list. Yes, like software updates but for visas. 1. Interim allocations and slower rollouts. Many states haven't yet received their full allocation of nomination places, so they're operating on interim numbers. For example, Northern Territory has limited nominations available, mostly for onshore applicants who have visa deadlines or age limit issues. Some states like Tasmania have now received full allocations and are moving ahead with weekly invitations. That means if you're planning your move, you can't assume full capacity everywhere as some states have opened. Some are waiting. 2. Dynamic occupation lists plus regional focus. States are getting more aggressive in aligning nomination with their labor market needs, which makes sense. So we're seeing occupation lists that are becoming dynamic and are able to be updated throughout the year to reflect emerging skills shortages. There's also a stronger focus on regional locations, or regions within states, rather than just major cities. This means if you're willing to go off the beaten track, you might have a better chance. 3. Stricter eligibility and tougher conditions. Some states are tightening up eligibility in certain areas. For Northern Territory, for instance, they're prioritizing onshore applicants who face visa expiry, age 45 cutoff, or other time-critical factors. Offshore candidates are effectively paused until full allocation. Also, higher transparency requirements, stronger documentation, higher English language benchmarks, in some jurisdictions, are being reported. 4. The federal program. Overall remains stable, but states matter. While these state nomination changes are big, it's worth noting that the overall federal permanent migration program for this program year has been confirmed and remains open, with the skilled stream still a key focus. So your broader chances haven't disappeared, but where you apply and how you position yourself counts more. Why did the rules change? And what's the hidden logic? Let's get a little into why these changes are happening. I like to think of the migration program as a giant jigsaw. The states each have their own puzzle piece, and the federal government is trying to fit them together while keeping an eye on the national picture. Many states have specific skill shortages: construction, mining, health, digital tech, and want migration to plug those gaps. Western Australia, for example, has emphasized a strong need for workers in housing, construction, and mining. The federal government wants to ensure migration is targeted and efficient, not just anyone who meets points, but migration that helps national growth and addresses regional deficiencies. It's a balancing act. States want more flexibility. Candidates want clarity. The federal government wants control. So these dynamic lists and interim allocations reflect that negotiation. Also, the global migration environment has changed. Pandemic after effects, global competition for skilled workers, supply chain disruptions, which means Australia's model needs to adapt. Probably that's why we see more emphasis on flexibility and responsiveness. Who benefits now and who might struggle? Good news first. If you've got one or more of the following characteristics, you're in a better position than many. You're skilled in a priority occupation, in a state experiencing shortages. Construction trades, mining support roles, digital, healthcare, If your occupation matches what states are really crying out for, you'll get attention. You're willing to live in regional or less saturated areas. States are giving preference to regional living. For example, the 491 regional visa. If you pick a regional location, you'll likely have less competition. Many states are prioritizing onshore applications, visas, working, studying in-state, and you have documented local ties. Because some programs are limited, being ready, skills assessment done, English test done, documentation up to date, gives you a leg up. Some states give bonus consideration to those who have already been living in the state, studied, or worked locally. Having local experience helps. Those who might struggle include offshore applicants from a location without current allocation. For some states, the program is still closed for offshore applicants. If you're offshore and your preferred state is not yet open, you may have to wait or pick another state. With dynamic lists, if your occupation isn't flagged as a shortage, you may face longer waits or higher competition. If your preference is Sydney only or Melbourne only and you're unwilling to look at regional options, you might be up against more competition and fewer incentives. Changes mean being prepared matters more than ever, as delayed skills assessments, outdated English test results, or immigration status issues can hurt. If your chosen state has significantly reduced the number of nomination spots, expect tougher competition. Your strategy should combine three things. Choose an occupation that is in demand in the state. Check the state's published occupation list. Consider states or regions where competition is lower, or nomination spots are more favorable. Regional living often helps. And pick a state you're willing to settle in. Because if you're nominated, you'll be expected to live and work there, especially for regional visas. If you can align all three, occupation in demand, plus flexible location, plus ready documentation, you'll maximize your chances. Quick state snapshots. Who's doing what? Here are a few brief snapshots of states' territories to give you a flavor of differences. Northern Territory is very restrictive for this program year, as only onshore applicants with time-critical issues, age limit, visa expiry, are currently eligible. Offshore and general applications paused. Western Australia is facing a drop in nomination places, which means higher competition. Tasmania has received its full allocation and started weekly invitation rounds, which suggests opportunity. Victoria's nomination program is open with eligibility requirements and occupation lists published. South Australia received additional interim allocation and is focusing on candidates who already submitted ROIs in previous year. This isn't every state, but enough to show each state is behaving differently. The state nomination pathway remains very much alive this program years. It's still a viable, powerful route for skilled migration. But it's harder in some ways than before. Fewer spots in places, tighter eligibility, more competition, states moving faster and expecting you to be ready. The winners will be those who prepare early, keep flexible, target the right place for their skills, and are willing to consider regional locations. Until next time, best of luck with your migration journey. Keep your paperwork ready, stay flexible, and may the odds of nomination be in your favor.